Let's talk about all the other costs that nobody else talks about, the things that you want to prepare yourself for when you're getting ready to purchase a home, especially if it's your very first home. How much money does it actually cost to purchase a house? Now, I'm talking beyond the standard down payment, the closing costs. We talk about that a lot, as I have mentioned in several other videos, that we do have lots of options as far as down payment assistance. Well, today I want to talk about any of that because we've talked about that enough. A lot of these I learned from experience, and a few others I've learned just along the way, just obviously doing this as long as I have. One of the very first ones, this one is going to pop up immediately once you're under contract. So you guys know the process. You're out house hunting. You've been pre-qualified. Now you have a seller who has accepted your offer, meaning you're under contract. The very first thing you're going to have to pay for out of pocket is going to be the earnest money deposit. So the earnest money deposit is basically a deposit that you make, you give it to the title company, so it's held in escrow, and then those funds will be used to, go to your final amount of money needed. But again, it is money. It's typically a check or a wire you have to write up front. It can be anywhere between $500 to $5,000 or more, depending on the purchase price. So that's something you want to prepare yourself for, that earnest money deposit. That basically lets the seller know that they're not going to sell the property to anybody else and that you're serious. That money is refundable if certain things happen, but we'll talk about that later. Number 2, home inspection. Once you're under contract, you now enter the home inspection period. You have 10 days to do your due diligence to make sure that nothing is wrong with this house, not fallen in, there's no issues with the roof or with the foundation. You have 10 days to do a home inspection. So you have to get a home inspector. That costs money. That is not rolled into the loan. Even if you're doing down payment assistance, that's money out of pocket you're going to have to pay. Typically, they run around $500. It will depend, of course, on the property size, but again, it's an expense you want to plan for. Up next, the appraisal. It's different than the inspection. The appraisal is what we require as lenders. That's other money that you're going to have to be spending out of pocket so that we know what the home is worth. We need that. It's got to be paid out of pocket. The reason for that is that the money goes straight to the appraiser, doesn't go to us. I don't get to pocket it. That's why we have to collect it up front. Now, I want to talk about a few other things that I don't think get talked about enough, and I learned this the hard way when I bought my very first house. When I was 22, I found a spec home. A spec home is a home that the builders basically built out already. You don't get to go in and customize your tile, your countertops, all that fun stuff when you're typically buying a new construction home. It has its options, right? It's this house, here's what you get, this floor plan. Anyway, I bought a brand new house. So it was brand new. They were basically giving them away at this time. It was right after the first crash. When I bought it, it was a blank slate, right? There was nothing in this house, no blinds. And that was actually really surprising to me, was how much blinds cost, because blinds are expensive. I went into, Home Depot just to look at the little basic ones that they cut or that you buy themselves. I think I had like a total of 11 or 12, maybe even 14 windows. And they were like anywhere between $100 to $200 per blind. Times 14, that adds up. I didn't have an extra couple $1,000s to put blinds on my windows when I was a first-time buyer. That was an expense I was not prepared for. Those are things you want to think about when you're looking to purchase a home, especially a new build, right? I feel like there's a lot of people looking at new builds right now because there's becoming more of them available rather than a resale, and getting into a bidding war can be very, exciting to look at a new build. Think about those things. It's a blank slate. The window coverings, they're expensive. I had to get these little paper ones that had like a little sticky thing on them. They were, I think, a couple of bucks. Those were on my house until basically every month I could afford one new blind, put it in, and that's just how you do it when it's your first house, right? You're a little broke. Furniture. Obviously, furniture is expensive depending on where you buy it from. Unless you're hitting up Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, new furniture can be pretty pricey. And the other thing is, if you do choose to finance those, you're going to have to wait till after you close on the loan, which we've talked about before. You don't want to get your credit pulled during the loan process. So furniture, window coverings, decor. These are all things you want to plan on. Moving expenses, the cost to move itself. If you're coming from another state, you're probably going to have to get some sort of a moving truck with your existing stuff, get that moved on over. Or again, if you're going to pay a company, moving can get expensive. So, or storage costs. These are all things you want to plan on. So beyond the standard down payment, the closing costs, these are things you want to think about when you're out there on the house hunt and when you're looking to purchase. So that's what I got for you today, guys. If there's any other home expenses or moving expenses that you can think of that I didn't mention here, hit me up below and I'd be more than happy to talk about them. Other than that, you guys be sure to like and subscribe, and talk to you later.